New old winner on the PGA Tour. Lots to talk about from some of the fittings and testing we've done this last week. And nothing but, club repairs, club fittings, club opinions. Next on What's on My Drawers Golf Talk. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here, McGolf Custom Clubs in Waverly, Ohio, where we talk about golf club reviews, golf club fittings, golf club opinions, and a little bit of everything else that's out there. And why is it What's in My Drawers? Because old club makers and club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and this started from finding the stuff that was in the drawers in the shop, and it's been well over a year now talking about all these different topics. So, as in most of the other stuff that we do, let's get to it. I don't have any pictures to show you because we turned around and jumped right to it. However, I can tell you we put together a set of Wilson D9s, and then we've been sent a set of clubs for me to exchange shafts in them. And we also have we made an order with Graphite Design, if you guys saw that video at the PGA show. And however, what they did is I've decided that I'm going to try these, the Tour AD IZ75 hybrid shafts. And they're the orange, if you look, orange, and there we go, orange, black. The high school around here is orange and black. I really wasn't thinking that when I got them. I was just looking for, the idea here is to get the ball up in the air just a little bit more, so they ought to be a little bit more friendly. And since my swing is not very aggressive, they ought to work pretty good. And then just on the other side of the house, they're so brand new, I'm taking the plastic off, is we got for a golfer that we're doing a repair on.
New build.
Oh, a new build. Okay, Tour AD, the AD. This is the Jordan Spieth, and this is the 95 S Flex. So slightly heavier. It's going to be a little bit more, a little bit more stout because this golfer does swing a lot harder than I do, or a lot stronger than I do, and he likes the slightly heavier stuff. So there we are. And this is the one that you would normally see that Spieth has, that is in the that's in the orange, that where this is all orange, right? He didn't want that, and they make a black model, and I think this is actually pretty cool the way it looks. I mean, it's for black and white. Nobody gets too excited about black and white, but the graphics on this aren't too bad. And the thing is, it's noticeably heavier. So that's pretty cool. And so we got a lot coming, right? The repairs and the builds are starting to roll in yet again, and which left us some time for fittings and for testing. Now, again, we'll talk about this here. So from a fitting perspective, we'll talk about setting up for fitting. A lot of folks you'll have you'll see a lot of people that have fitting carts. And the fitting carts, you'll see it like country clubs and green grass type stores, and they'll look a lot like the Paradym, where it's got the hole that has the screw that you can screw into the different shafts that are available, which look just about like, have this kind of a fitting on the end, and they go in there. Okay, once I can figure it out. Anyway, they go in there. Okay, so what that allows is for you to fit Callaway stuff to Callaway stuff. And if you were ever to go back out and do it, because these things are not made the same, they have to take it and they have to have the gears inside milled. You have to have that drilled out. There's a lot that goes on to modify this. And you can do that, but then if you want to fit, say, a Mizuno club or a Wilson club or any other club, pardon me, you can't use, say, the Callaway and go, there's no interconnection. That's not necessarily a bad thing if you're one of the companies, you don't want them trying your stuff. However, here it's a different animal. So what we do is that we make ours look like this. And this is what you see sticking out now. And what this is an all fit master connector. And you can tell that there's the cutouts, and that's where the shaft piece, if I had one, nope. Anyway, the shaft goes on here, and there's a little ferrule nut that goes on the top. Actually looks pretty good, okay? And what I have to do is I have to drill this piece out with a certain size drill bit, and only as long as this adapter goes, and normally it's right about here. And then I got to glue it in and align it so that they all fit the same way. Now, the cool thing about this one is that, and I weighed them all. I weighed them all before I drilled them out. I weighed them after I drilled them out, and I weighed them with all the adapter pieces together. So this head is within 2 grams of its original weight with the shaft adapter that goes in it. So virtually it's the same club. Now, in the past, when I had the Club Connects, which was this very hulky looking black piece that went on the top, it was the only thing that was out there, and it was very, very solid. It never broke. You just had to make sure that it was, that you abraded the shaft, and then we would have to cut 1/4 inch of the hosel and end mill another 1/4 inch to make up for a lot of the weight that piece was adding on. The unfortunate part about it is the shaft adapter that went in there added even more weight. So all the golf clubs were significantly heavier. And that's what you'll see at, pardon me again, the biggest box store that does them. And I've seen the fitting parameters, and they're very, very heavy in swing weight. And that's because that's what they were using. Now, in order to obtain the swing weight that is made there by the connectors, if you don't adjust them, there's some extraordinarily high swing weights, and they impact how the club performs. All right, you're talking about adding significant weight that can move center of gravities, that kind of stuff. And that's what we had, so that's what we had to deal with. But I was manipulating the club to try and to minimize that. Now, I don't. I just do this, put it in there, and it's exactly the same. So these guys play like they did if I didn't modify them. And that's a good thing in my opinion. Then what this allows me to do is I can use this club, or I can use that club, or I can even use a club like this with different shafts. And I have a plethora of shafts that they all fit into, so that, one, my inventory is not ridiculously large, and two, that I can control the types of shafts that can fit. And then once I know how each one of these shafts work, and for different swing types and how they work against the shaft, we can do a better fitting for you. So I just want to let you know that was going on. All right. The other part is that we had a chance to test these. The video that's going to come out tomorrow, is going to be on these. I tested these, and there's 2 models. There's a Paradym. Brother, can you spare a pair of dimes? And there's a Paradym X. All right, the Paradym is going to be the flagship model. Very little offset, a compact look, to be honest with you. Actually, I do like it. If you guys remember the older Epics, the first generation Epics, when they look pretty compact, that's what these kind of remind me of in shape. And it's a forged 455 face set into I'm going to say it's a steel body, and the end result is it's more of a hollow body design. And what they've done is they put somewhere around 70 grams of tungsten underneath with the urethane microspheres in order to give it this feel, and they're very strong. This guy, the Paradym X, is a little bit longer in the blade length, and noticeably so when you put them together, much wider in the sole here with a little bit more offset. Not a gross amount, but more. Now, what you're seeing is the X models, they're going to the X model because they didn't want to say draw bias, because they didn't want to, they thought that gave a feeling of, oh, well, you can't turn the ball over. Well, dude, that's 85% of the golfers on the planet. So anyway, that's what they're doing. Good for them. And when we got to hit them, when I measured these guys, the lofts were right there. They're very clean. They're actually playing a little flat. So we're going to have to do something about that. But anyway, we hit them. And you'll have to watch the video. For 7-irons, I punch these things out there pretty far. And it's not me, it's the club, because they're very strong. And I had Bob here watching, and we were hitting back and forth. And what was happening is I hit 9 balls, and on the last one I just try and stand on it and see if I could get anything out of it. And in both cases, I threw these guys. This is me standing on it, by the way. Both of these guys, I got it out past 180. I think 183, 184, something like that. That's a lot for a 7-iron in my book. But they're strong like that. So, if you can control it, that's not bad. If you can't, well, then all you're doing is playing around. But anyway, to say that the feel was there, the performance was there, and that's what it was. And I compared it against my gamer, Matt. He always asked me that. So this time I did that, and they were the same lofts, and you'll see the results. So needless to say, yeah, they're a pretty good club. In there, if you guys bought ST Rogues and you got the Maxes, do you have to jump and change into these? Well, if you want to spend some money, sure. If you're would you see a vast improvement in your performance of the golf club? No. Would the feel change? Yes. Would it be softer? Yeah. But you're going to land them in the same exact spot. So there's that one. Now, on to this guy. These guys, the Paradyms and the Paradym X. All right. Brother, can you spare Paradyms? Anyway, these things work. Okay. I haven't hit them yet, but I've had folks, that's all I fit with this last time. These things work. I've had guys hit this one. I've had them hit this one, and we've hit that one. I even gave it to so I had an older golfer in here that was an incredibly good ball striker, and he was in his 70s, and I made him hit this triple diamond, and hey, he punched it out there. He did. He punched it out there. It was a little bit further, just like we've seen in the past triple diamonds. They do go a little bit further, but if you get just even a little bit off of it, it goes wide right or wide left, depending on which way you're going with it. So your good hits are rewarded, and your bad hits are just the opposite. And so we normally have been settling on this guy with that weight, and it's been pretty good. And the weight does do something. In this particular instance, I had the golfer was leaving him out there just a hair to the right, 5 yards off to the right as a right-handed golfer, and I moved that thing to the middle. I didn't even go full draw, just went middle of draw, and he's throwing it into the middle of the fairway. So when they say it's a tweak, right? 5 yards is really not much when you're talking a couple hundred yards out, and it really did well. So it does work. So everything that they're talking about works. And everybody that's hit the driver has said, wow, this is really a good feeling driver. And the performance has been there. They've beat, then they say they always come in here, most golfers, we're all freaking guilty of this. How far you hit it? I might hit it 240, 250, right? And when did you do that? Well, I did a couple times last year. Oh, okay. What was your if you weren't hitting it, bombing at 240, 250, then what was it? Oh, okay. Well, about 220. Oh, okay. And we go with that and try and beat those particular numbers. And so far we have. So that's a good thing. So that's all the pluses and stuff we got going on. Oh yeah. And I finally got here's one that everybody's going to enjoy. How about that guy? I finally got the tip on it. So now we got to test. So I got all kinds of testing and reviewing that has to happen. And RT6, we got the Mizunos, we've got the Strixons, of which I have hit some of those. The feel on the Strixons is undeniably soft. It is very, very nice. The JPX, when I finally got the club tightened down, it worked very well also, but that we'll see what happens with the rest of it. So that therein lies all of that. Let me move this so I can move my mouse around. There we go. Yeah, can't mess with that. All right, so we got the shafts. We got the VRTX, right? The VTRX, the iron shaft. Remember I showed you the iron shaft? I put that in play with some fitters, and I tested it, and it's going to be something. It's going to be something. I really like the way that it performed. I really like the way that it performed. It felt good. It looks good. That might be another golf shaft that's in the stable. All right, one last thing before we get started. Actually, two more things before we get started. Number one, like and subscribe. Hit that stuff that's going across the bottom. That way you get more of the videos that are coming out. We did the PGA show thing, and the first two or three got all kinds of response. Unfortunately, the Strixon and the Flight Scope, for some reason, will not show up or won't show. It hasn't gotten the love that the other ones have gotten. So if you haven't had a chance to see it because the improvements to the Flight Scope are really cool. And Dustin from the Strixon group he's a pretty good cat. Okay, that was the other one. Second one is this coming week. We're going to on this Sunday. We're going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is having a golf show, and we stumbled upon the people from the Golf Exchange at the PGA show, and we got along pretty good right out of the box. And he says, "Oh, do you go to these things?" I said, "No, bro, I don't go to those things." And because I'm, when I go down there, I'm the customer. When I go to these places, typically I need to be a vendor of some type, and I just haven't found how I would make that go. And he says, "Well, just come on over." And I said, "Okay, I'll just come on over." And so we've got a time. We're going to go over there, visit, and see what it looks like. It's at the Duke Energy Coliseum or Convention Center, which is in a different place than I thought we would be going, which is great. It's not downtown, and it's only 15 minutes from Maggiano's, so we're going to be good. We're going to be eating some Italian, so very good. All right, so we got that. So if you're going to the Cincinnati Golf Show and you haven't figured out a day, we're going to be there as it opens and probably leave. I'm going to imagine we're going to be out of there by noon, 1 o'clock-ish, because it closes at 2 anyway, and on Sunday. So there you go. All righty. So let's get to answering some questions. Here we go to the top. And we're almost there. Here we go. Not a golfer. What do you say? Oh, here we go. Look at this. The 923, the HMBs, Hot Metal Pros. You built me with the Recoil 95s are awesome. Well, thanks, buddy. Elbow pain dropped 80%, which we thought we would do. And graphite's doing its job. Also, I'm hitting it better than ever. These are plus 1/2 and 3 up. There you go. There you go. I'm digging on that. Looking at the wedges with UST Proto shafts, should these be a 1/2 inch in standard or 1/2 inch and 1 up? Old set iron was 2 up and the wedges standard. I do like them flatter than the irons. Well, if you like them flatter than the irons, number one, yes, I would make them a 1/2 inch over. The wedge protos, yeah, if you wanted to go there, that would be the feel would be very similar in line for wedges. That's a good one. And if you like them flatter, then 1 or 2 up instead of 3, and then you would be good to go. But yeah, I'd get along with that one. And then he says, "Hello, everybody." If he's from Georgia, good deal. All right. Hello, everyone. Weather turning, so maybe around in the near future. Yeah, I tell you what, you're going to be in the 50s. I was just talking to somebody from Cleveland this afternoon. All right, weather turning around. Yep. How many clothes manufacturers were at the PGA show? Anything cool on the clothing end? Have a great show. Well, there are a ton of manufacturers, clothing manufacturers at the PGA show, Matt. And Robin and I we call that the beautiful people section. The beautiful people section. And it is. It's full of people that sell clothes, and in order to sell clothes, you got to be an attractive individual, and most of them are. And there's everything there: pants, dresses, tops, shirts, button downs, outerwear, belts, shoes, socks, hats. I mean, you name it. If it's clothes, they've got it. There's even golf underwear. I think it's called 2 Under. So, yeah, there was all kinds of stuff out there. I'm not a big, as you can tell, I'm not a big clothing guy, but I go with the Callaway apparel only because they have a big and tall section, and the clothing is very, very nice. Now, the stuff I like has this inner liner in it, and it just is smoother, and that's what I like. But the rest of their stuff's very good. The outside liner or the outerwear, there was a couple of places that we would go for that, and we just haven't had that much call for it, so we just haven't gone there. Next belt, we do the next belts, and we've put in an order for the next belts. And the other part is, for those of you that do this, they have everyday carry belts, and we're going to get a couple of those too, because this neck of the woods, that happens quite regularly. And the last bit is hats. You see, I got a new one happening here, although we came across a group that we really like, and they were called Branded Bills. And the Branded Bills is exactly what it sounds like, a leather patch that goes right here. And now they have they call it PVC. It's like a silicone patch that's very flexible, and it's 3-dimensional and right there. And then they can put some stuff across the side. And they had a hat that fit my big head. So we'll probably be, once we get the design, we'll probably be ordering from them. So there we go. All righty. Manuel, what's going on? There we go. Hello, Robin and Jim and the golf nuts on here. Could reach 50 degrees in NYC. Tee time at 12:20. Nicely done, buddy. Yeah, we're going to see. It's going to be it starts out low in the 30s, high in the 50s here all week long. And the one day I was able to get out, we're going to be traveling to Cincinnati. So no golf for me, but we're going to get out there. Peter, how are you, sir? Glad to see you're on here. Danny, it's going to be 60s all week in upstate South Carolina. Maybe I could get out for a little practice. There you go, bud. Well done. All right. There's Joey. He's back again. He's from Georgia. Peter, you got a question on the putter grip that goes all the way down the shaft. Is USGA approved? I'd have to see which one you're talking about, Peter. But as far as I know, there are certain rules and regulations for putter shafts. Okay, so number one is, and I'm not sure how Garson got away with it, but apparently if you can have at a certain, it can be normally grips have to be round. Okay, they have to be round, and they have to be just so long so you can get 2 hands on it. Now, it doesn't say that there's any real length that I'm aware of. However, on putters, you're allowed to have a flat, right? And a flat is for the placement of the thumb. And so you can do that. Now, you can have a pistol shape, but you can't have it all the way around, just in the back. Back in the day, they had I called them hookah. They were the grips that it curved right about here and then went back up, and that was to fit the palm of your hand, the fat part of your hand. Those are illegal. But anyway, back into the putter shafts, they can be a flat. and they can be ovally or whatever kind of shape underneath. They're allowed to be not round. Now, if you had a two-piece putter shaft, a little piece up here and a big piece that went all the way down, and they were round, you could do that. And they had to be so far apart. I believe it was like 1.5 inches apart. They had to be apart. Now, if you could put them together to make a whole grip, but there was some modification in place. Now, in the other ones, you've seen that the really long ones that, they run about 17 to 22 inches long. Yeah, those are legal. And because of the choking down, or even you get the longer ones for the arm lock putters, those are legal. And so if they want to go all the way down the shaft, why you would want to do that? I mean, when we're talking about all the way down the shaft, we're getting really, really close to the putter head. I suppose you could. I don't know why you would want to, but to go 25 inches, to go 30 inches, I don't see what would be illegal about it. It would just look odd. Now, they also have what we saw at the PGA show, where it was started with a C. Anyway, they looked like they were hockey stick handles. And they were hockey stick handles that they would cut off the bottom of the shaft to put them in the club, and you made a putter out of what looked very much like a hockey stick handle, and those were made to be legal. So there's a lot that you can do with a putter grip and get away with it. Keith Helinski, how you doing? Middleton, Maryland. Well done, bud. Middleton. Okay. All right. Here we go. There's Krister. How are you, sir? I was just talking to a guy on My Golf Spy. He's one of the My Golf Spy moderators, and he too is from Sweden. And of course, I thought, well, because you're in a vast country, that certainly you guys would know each other. That was sarcasm, but I thought it was very coincidental that you'd find that. How you doing, buddy? All righty. Oh, wait. Charlie, how you doing? All right. Paul, learn a new swing. It is better to get new swing working properly before getting fitted for new clubs, or does it matter? Thanks. Well, okay, Paul, if you're in the middle of a massive swing change and your consistency is just like beginner level kind of stuff, then I would say get the swing going in order for you to have a better fitting, right? If your swing is, you've got all the basics down and you're doing well, you're just still learning it, but you're hitting the ball pretty decent, then I don't see where that hurts. So that's where I would start suggesting things. Travis K, there you go. Heard Bryson separating from Cobra. I saw that too. Do you think that the single length fad will fizzle out now? Probably not. If now for Cobra to keep doing it, that might be. I could see them. I could see them not doing it. Based on their sales, if it was a small fraction of their sales, their Forge Tech and all their other stuff, they could just keep doing the traditional models and drop off the single links, and it wouldn't hurt their bottom line whatsoever. However, they're literally the only OEM that's making a production model, so that makes them kind of unique. And so it depends. Cobra's kind of always march to their own drummer, but after Bryson goes, I would make a big guess that single length stuff's going to disappear. Now, wherever Bryson goes, he's going to be looking for single length help. And if his driver's indication of where he wants to go, i.e. TaylorMade, then TaylorMade's a big enough brand to withstand him and say, no, man, we're not doing that. So keep your Cobra stuff. Or he could go and have them custom made and have TaylorMade stamped on them. Could be doing that. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I just don't see TaylorMade jumping into it, because if they thought that there was any benefit to doing it, they would have done it without him. So we'll see. And he's an independent contractor, they say. That'll last just a little while. All right. Jim, your assessment of the KBS Tour Light shaft. It is by most certainly a lighter version of the Tour component. That's about it. So if you liked the Tour level shaft and just want something lighter, but you like that performance, you're right in there. You're right in there. I will also say that while we're on the KBS line, we got the PGIs. Remember, I have the TGIs, which are the black and red. I'm looking at them. And then the PGIs are a different kind of black and red, and they're a softer profile. And talking with Kim Braley, it was massively a massively better shaft, even in his opinion. Okay, he was really, really happy with the way that these came out. And so if he's liking them, he says this is going to be a shaft that fits way more people. So that's good. All righty. Peter Freeman, or Danny Freeman. Peter, don't think it is. Even the Adam Scott putter grip has to be broken in two parts. There is a certain length. All right. Mr. Hodges, how are you, sir? Oh, the paradym. Look at it. He even has the little slash going. Driver's been in the winner's bag in 4 of the 5. Yeah. I mean, it works. The thing is doing its job. It sounds good. Everybody that's hit it, I've asked them, I turned around, I said, what do you think? Does it feel good? And they're like, oh, yeah, it feels really good. So good for us. Good for them. All righty. Justin Rose used Cobra irons in his win at Pebble Beach. Well, you know, I'm glad that Justin Rose won. It's been a while, and he was the old golfer that won for a while. And it's funny that they consider him older. I still believe he's in his 30s. And I think once he did that Hamna gig, and I think that messed him up a little bit. And then he had to go get his priorities back in order. And once he did that, find a set of irons that he likes. And could be just so consequential or coincidental that Bryson's gone, and they could pick up Justin Rose. You never know. Stranger things have happened. Thomas Strother, what do you say, buddy? From the displaced Alaskan. Reporting from North Carolina. Finally replaced the old Ping G30 for a PXG 311. Love the change. Sound, feel are game changing. And they would be. The Ping G30 is kind of old there, Thomas. And what you're seeing is an increase in what you're doing is you're seeing an increase in I'm listening to Robin talk. Hey, shh. Anyway, the technology leap would make it feel better, and the performance should be better. So good. I'm glad you're liking it. Very good. All righty. Dimpled Sphere. Hello, sir. Keith, what do you say? How do you feel about the GolfWorks putouts club-wise? I have a 7-iron head from their Ultra Game Improvement line. I like that. There are some that I really like, and there's some that I do not like. It's like true with any of them. Their TS line, the TS2, and they used to have a 1. I don't know if they still do, but the TS2 was an absolute bomber. Thing felt good. It worked good. It looked good. I mean, it could take on a lot of OEMs. They have some other ones. The KE line, and they had another line that was for the lefties, and they were good. They just weren't as good as the TS line. And but they can be it. I mean, you can go play golf with them and play golf for years with them, to be sure. You just got to make sure it's the right one for you. All righty. There's Keith saying the same thing. Dimple Sphere played Sunday, a lot of wind, 35 putts. Well, that's not, since that's one less than what's scheduled for it, so that's not bad. There's our man, PZ. What do you say, man? Here we go. Common Man. Hello, Jim Ron. First time viewer from West Orlando. All right, man. Well, welcome on. Welcome on. All righty. James Hodge. Could I build a one-length hybrid using standard hybrid head by adding weight on the head via the tip weights? How will it affect the launch? Well, it depends on the philosophy that you would have for single length. The single length irons run around at 200 and we'll just say 275 for good math. You could go 271 to 276, but let's call it 275. And so in order to be single length, in order for them all to be the same, the crucial part here is the actual weight of the club, just like you've seen about adding tip weight. Now, if a hybrid head comes in at 250, that's probably going to be too much weight to add. And no, you're not going to get there. If it's 260, 265, and you just throw a 10-gram pin weight in there, you're right on the money. Now, and what we're talking about here is we'll use this. So if you were to take, and say this was a regular club, and you were putting a club in here, and you put a 10-gram weight in here, 10 grams is where you start moving center of gravities and affecting them. And it could be as much as an 1/8 inch, it could be a 1/4 inch, depending on the type of club, okay? And it will move it, and it'll move it towards the weight, so you'll move it this way. Now, let's say that you've put that in there and you still want to add more weight. Well, there's plenty of ways of doing it. I know everybody's going to say put tungsten down the pipe and put the cork in behind it and yada, yada, yada. That's all good and dandy until it starts getting beyond the hosel and all of a sudden the shaft is not performing the way it's supposed to. You stop making it act the way that it was designed. That's my big thing. Now, let's just say you needed a handful of grams. It's not, let's say 6. You could apply lead tape, right? You could apply lead tape. If you didn't want to mess how it was going to do, you would apply it in either straight down the middle here or straight here. Okay, just a couple. It's not going to be too terrible. Now, if you didn't want any impact in the club whatsoever, you'd go this way. If you want to knock off a little bit of spin, you could put it right here. If you wanted to be able to close it a little bit more, you'd run it right around here. If you wanted to keep it open a little bit more, you'd run it along there. And that's where you would go with it. If you wanted it to launch just totally higher, just put it all right back here. But that's where you can go. So first you'd have to weigh it and then see how much weight you'd have to add. If you got to go more than, I would say I wouldn't go. I'm not real comfortable going very high, but 10 grams, not a problem. 15 grams would probably be my limit. I know some people would try and go for 20, but at that point, I think you're changing the whole purpose of the golf club. And no, that's just where I would go with it. All righty. Sonny V, it's been a while, buddy. Just came through a few days of minus 25. Wahoo! Back to reasonably cold temperatures. It was a good weekend to play some indoor golf here. Well, yeah, I'd say very well done. Yeah, stay warm. Hopefully you get to see some of the warmer temperatures that we're seeing. Efren, what do you say, man? Hope all is well. So what are you doing moving forward with the Club Connect lawsuit? I'm not doing anything, Efren, because I'm not part of it. In fact, to the point I didn't even know there was one. And that's fine. I paid for when they sent this out, so he knows about it. So Efren knows about it. When Club Connect got or sold itself to a fitting company, and I always forget their names. They're out of Scottsdale. It's not Cool Clubs or Hot Sticks. True Spec, that's who it is. True Spec bought them, and I don't think they really put a serious effort behind them. And they got bought by Club Champion. And when Club Champion bought them, they wanted to charge a monthly fee for the privilege of being able to buy them. And the fee was, in my opinion, outrageous. And for a small one shop, it wasn't going to pay for itself. And I tried to explain to them that, by doing this, you're going to open the door, and there's going to be a whole lot of people fleeing this particular model, and they're going to go other places. And if you're trying to run a business on it, you're not going to be very successful. Now, when they have all this and they got 130 stores, I guess you don't have to worry about that too much, particularly if you're just taking care of it yourself. That said, that's the reason why all our clubs look like this and not with a Club Connect on the outside. So that's what it was. And I stopped there. I know there was some grumbling out there, and I'm not sure what it was all about, but I just stopped when I knew it was going to go south, and I just stopped. And that was the end of my involvement with them. And I'm glad, because it allowed me to find these Master Fit or All Fits. So I'll be wondering what happens, but that's as far as it goes for me. Danny, everybody hit like because I know you do. Thank you, sir. Scotty, what's going on, man? Just got a part-time job at the local golf shop, not big box. Your videos help me with club repair. Well, good. I'm glad to help you out. General Oliver Golf Info. Kudos to you, my friend. Well, very good. Maybe say you're a McGolf graduate or something. Yeah. Is it the Golf Exchange? I got to meet him. Some cat named Jason. Actually a pretty good guy. All right. I got to read on, she says. Bill Nauman, what do you say, buddy? What would be a good hitting mat without breaking the bank? Dude, I don't know. I don't know what breaking the bank is. I'm a fiber built person through and through. Now there is another one. It's something swing. Now the whole idea here is, if you're going to do indoor stuff and you're going to hit into a net and practice, and that's all good. Okay, that is all good. However, those little bitty thin mats do two things. Number one is they give you false positives, because when you hit the ground, it tends to want to close the club and you're not slicing anymore. Number two is it jars you all the way up through your shoulders, so you get elbow pain and shoulder pain. And that was the reason why I went to what I have. And I have a pretty nice setup, I will say, in the fiber belt. It's the Country Club edition, where the matting is thicker and a little bit darker green. Now, that said, they have a regular one-sided, particularly if you're just for you don't need what I have. You need a one mat, one hitting area kind of setup. And they have one like we have at the drive-in range here, and they're much they're much less expensive. Is that even right? Much less expensive. Anyway, they cost less. And
it's called swing turf.
Okay, swing turf, and this thing lasts. These things last a lifetime, because you get four hitting squares that you can rotate around, and that one hitting mat, unless you're wearing some sort of really super aggressive shoe, will last you forever, and the rubber mat that goes underneath of it won't slide. And that's the other important part about it. So that's, and you can always look for them. Sometimes they have, in the day, they used to sell what they called blims. I don't know if they do that anymore, but it's been quite some time. But there we go with that one. And the idea is so that you get the qual. And the other part is that they've done the testing, and the hitting off of the turf, hitting off of everything is very, very similar to hitting off the dirt. It's not exact, but it's pretty doggone close. All right. And from hitting in here for years on years and going out and playing, the stuff is very, very close. So I don't have any problems recommending that. All righty. There's Robin talking to Scott. I heard I'll be manning the shop while you're at the show. Okay. And there's Robin recommending Fiber Built. She's ahead of me. And there he is. There's Brian. Man, we got a whole bunch of guys coming back. Very good. Tested the Maltby Max milled wedges, 50 degrees with 1.5 sole width. Love them out of sand and heavy rough. Well, cool. I'll have to go and see what they've got, what they've put out for new clubs. That's pretty cool. Willard, how are you, sir? Jack, what? Riviera Beach, Florida. Everybody's vacationing this week. Well done. Enjoy it down there. Get all the sun you can. Phil K. Happy Monday. Good golf this weekend after ice apocalypse in Austin. Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody got hit with that, didn't they? All right. Mount Washington, New Hampshire hit minus 108. Wahoo! That's beat mine. My personal best is minus 180 or is minus 88. And that was while we were in Waukegan. And that lake effect killed us. And but 108 that's a record maker right there. Sean wants to know if we're still set for Friday at 10.
Yes, we are.
And yes, we are, according to the scheduler. And will you be making a trip up to the Cleveland Golf Show? Probably not. I'm doing this on invitation, Matt. Jason talked to me and said, come on up. Let's see what we can do. So there'll probably be a little bit of a video on it. That'd be kind of fun. All righty. Common Man. I'm still a beginner with an inconsistent swing. Would a static help me with some basic info to narrow down my stats for choosing clubs? Yes, to an extent, but the fitting, keep in mind that the static fitting information that's out there was based on some very, very old data. And the average golfer has gotten much taller since that stuff came out. That's how old it is. So you very well may find yourself using a golf club that is shorter. And that's not what we want. Now, inconsistent, you can still do a basic length, what I would call a very basic, go to like a big box store or something like that and hit some. Go get the same club head and the same shaft and see if they've got one that's a half an inch under, a standard, and a half inch over, and just swing and see which one you tend to make the best connection with, and then go with that. All right. I was not quite as cold as minus 10 and minus 20 with the wind chill. Wow. Yes. Robin, I'm also on the market for a 5x5 mat, so I'll send an email so you can provide information. All right. All righty. I don't know about the discount thing. Sean, give us a thumbs up. I go for the big, not so tall section. Dude, I understand completely. All right. Justin Rose won with a Paradym driver and a bag of new Cobra irons. He played for the first time. They're the real deal. Which ones were they, Emmanuel? I don't know. I know they're getting some love out there, but I just don't know which ones they are. Al from the Space Coast. Busy day coming tomorrow at the Savannah's Golf Club, pushing 200 on the tee sheet. Going to be tired for sure. Oh, man, that's a lot, dude. That's a truckload of play. Hopefully they'll let you take a lunch break. Anthony Giuliano? Which is the most forgiving, T200, ZX5, Mark II, or the HM Pro? Wow. That's a good question. Let me think about that one for a minute. So I'm really, really close. Okay, so uh, it depends on what. So, Anthony, there are certain things uh, that people will take into account for forgiveness. Okay. And one of them is blade length. So, measured from here to here. Another one is club head height from here to here in the center line, not at the toe, but in the center line. Another one is the amount of offset that's on it. The more offset, the more forgiving. That's the thought process. The longer the blade length, the more forgiving. The taller in the head, more forgiving. There's even a center of gravity measurement, that goes into effect for that. Okay. So that being said, they are all very, very similar, right? I have the Forge model, which is very, very close to the Pro model. And just, me and my slippery hands. So if we look at it, if we look at this, they're virtually the same, right? Except for the Srixon has a wider sole. Now, the Mizuno has a more curved sole. So it depends on how you interact with the turf in that particular one. The T200, however, the T200 is a slightly deeper cavity back and with the same amount of offset as the others two. And I would say probably a sole width that's somewhere in between. Okay. I don't think that the heads are any taller than any one of the piece. Now, and then that leaves into the style of the way that it's made. This is a single piece forged. All right. All this is a forged cavity back with a badge in the back to make it look pretty. All right. The Mizuno is another different kind of forged that they cut a slot down here and they run a milling machine and they mill out the face and the back to make it thinner so that it flexes more and then they cover it back up. Now this is also single piece in that it goes right through here, goes up and around, and then there's a badge on the back. So you got that. The T200, I believe, is a two-piece club. So, where it's a face set into a body. Okay, that's good too. Everybody's got their own manufacturing. So if I was to tell you which one was which, if I had my druthers, I would say it'd have to be a tie between the HM Pro and the Mark II. Okay. Now, what would be the deciding factor for me? It would be turf interaction. If you're a guy that's a picker, you will probably like the HM Pro better. If you're a guy that really gets into the turf, then probably the Srixon would be better. That's where I would go with it. 42? Man, where did all that time go, Charlie? He's still a pup.
Our son's not too far off.
I know. Danny, does swing weight figure into fittings? To an extent, yes. You start with heads and shafts and get to the right, but does swing weight come into play? When I'm doing it, I very rarely mention swing weight, Danny, because not only does the shafts and the heads, but also the grips. Okay, if I go from a rubber grip, say, there we go. There they go. Yeah, make a little more noise. So if we go from a rubber grip like this, and we go to a grip like that, that can be a significant change in swing weight. Now, if you go from something like this, and you go to a Jumbo Max and a Tour model, swing weight's blown out of the water. There's no way you're going to recover. Now, can you do some tweaking to get back and be consistent? The answer is yes, you can. All right, and I would do that. Now, because I always get these guys that do these I have to have a D4 swing weight. And I can prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt you probably don't. And it's all how they fit together, more of a balance than a must this, that, and the other thing. Now, does that mean that if I am, put those back there, if I'm fitting and the golfer mentions that I really like how it plays, it just feels a little light, then yeah, we're going to add some weight. If it looks like it's going to be like really light on a normal build without the Jumbo Max, then yeah, I'll probably add some weight. That kind of stuff. But and taking it off is a hard thing to do. And we probably will not. I'm never going to grind ahead to just take off swing weight. You could back weight, but then you're just adding weight to make it feel lighter. And I think that's a counterproductive thing. It can be done, but it's counterproductive. Now, back weighting, this is taking me down a rabbit hole, but I'm going. But back weighting, is that a bad thing? No, it's actually a very good thing. Jack Nicklaus did it in his clubs, and look at what he did. A lot of the long drive guys do it, and look what they do. So and I would bet you real money that, a lot when you're swinging a 46 to 47 inch club and you put a little bit of weight in the back, that length kind of counteracts that stuff. So there's always swing weights, all these different factors than just that. But does it get incorporated? The answer is yes. Do I measure it? The answer is no. All right, I was referring to when you were at the PGA show and you spoke to the vendor, said his grill helps you stay on line and the putter went all the way down the shaft. Okay. You mean Garson? If Garson did it, he has a longer, but it's only like a 17-inch. It's a 17-inch shaft grip, I think. And the reason being, it's one of two models. It's the kind that's I call it a teardrop, where it's like this, and then it goes around on the bottom, and then it's the one like Lydia Ko is using, where it's flat and it's like a trapezoid upside down. It comes in. That's what I would. That's the ones. All right. I never knew sound was such an important factor. It definitely changes your perspective on the enjoyment of the game. At least it did for me. And Thomas, it does for everybody. It also it's an immediate notifier if you've struck it well or you've struck it poorly. It also, the sound transmits that kind of, we'll call it confidence. And then that also can tell you like, oh man, you get one of those kinds of feelings. It can also, you've heard the ones that sound like tin cans when you hit them. And everybody you're just standing there and you're cringing, waiting for that sound to come through. And actually that can impact the way that you swing. And we really don't want that. So the solid one is really, really good. Duque, I'm on vacation in Yardsville. Okay, very cool. We got a lot of people on vacation, dude. All right. Thanks, Jim, for your advice. Really thinking about buying newer irons to replace my hand-me-downs. Well, very cool. If nothing else, and you happen to be in a unique area, because or the Orlando area is just full of people with golf club shops and people that want to fit. And if you go in there and you tell them your expectation is, hey, look, I'm a beginning golfer, but I'm looking to put some new clubs in the bag. I'd just like to do a fitting to make sure I'm putting the right kinds of stuff in the bag. They should be more than happy to help you out. Anthony, thank you. Very informative. You are more than welcome, sir. Peter, I'm going to have to go look at this one, because the only one I can remember is talking to was Star, and they don't really have a putter grip, but it's not really that big a deal, and was Garson online. I'm trying to think of what I saw on the putter. I just don't remember if I saw a super duper long putter grip. We'll have to look at that one. I have to go back and talk about that one. All righty. Well, look at that. 1 minute before our hour is up, guys and gals. So very cool. We're digging on that. All right. So my last bit of this thing here is, hey, if you would like and subscribe, watch for the video that's coming out. It'll be talking about the paradigms and their comparisons. And if always you got any questions, put them down in the show notes below. And we'll be talking more about some more testing. If it turns out I've got something to do every night this week as far as helping folks with fittings and gap wedges or gapping and all kinds of other stuff. So we're going to have it's going to be quite the busy week. So we'll have lots to talk about then. We're starting to get to the point. We're not there quite yet, but I've made some contacts and we're going to start having some guests on here. If you would, what would interest you more? The actual OEMs, the shafts, the grips, combination of all of them. What would you like to see? Just let me know and we'll get to it. Yeah, let's see what we got here. All the way down. There we go. Here we go. Well, it is kind of important, Peter. If we know what it is, I can help you out with it. Maybe it was that. Maybe that's what it was. Jock. Number one golf geniuses for the masses. I'll put that one in there. I'll put that one in there next time. Let's have a little bit of fun with it. Okay, guys. So we'll call it done here on this one. Again, thank you very much for stopping in and listening. And as always, guys, let's see your scores. Go low.